Commander Alan Frost rubbed his tired eyes as he studied the sensor readings on the main screen of the Vanguard. The deep space vessel had been on its survey mission beyond the Kuiper Belt for 3 months now, and the emptiness of space was starting to wear on everyone. "Sir, I'm picking up something unusual," said Lisa Grant, the ship's science officer. Her fingers moved quickly across her console. "An energy signature I've never seen before." Alan straightened in his captain's chair. After weeks of routine scans and data collection, anything unusual was worth attention. "Put it on the main display." The screen shifted to show a flickering blue light against the black of space. It pulsed in an irregular pattern, definitely artificial. "Distance?" Alan asked. "About 500,000 kilometers, sir." "Definitely not a natural phenomenon," Lisa replied. Her dark hair was pulled back in a practical ponytail, her eyes never leaving her readings. "And there's something else. Mass readings suggest it's a vessel of some kind." The bridge fell silent. In the year 2157, humanity had established colonies on Mars and Europa, but despite decades of searching, they had yet to find proof of intelligent alien life. Until now. "Jack, approach with caution." "Diane, broadcast standard greeting messages on all frequencies," Alan ordered. His tactical officer and communications specialist nodded and set to work. As Vanguard drew closer, the object became clearer, on their screens. It was indeed a ship, but like nothing designed by human hands. The vessel had a smooth, curved shape that reminded Alan of the manta rays he'd seen during his childhood visits to the Florida coast. But this ship was damaged, with visible tears in its hull and a dim, flickering light where bright illumination should be. "Sir, I'm detecting life signs," Lisa said, her voice barely above a whisper. "They're weak, but they're there." "And I'm picking up a transmission," Diane Miller added, adjusting her communications equipment. "It's not in any language I recognize, but the pattern suggests it's intelligent communication, not just random signals." Alan took a deep breath. First contact. After all the training scenarios and protocols, it was happening on his watch, with his crew. "Continue broadcasting peaceful intentions. Lisa, what's the status of that ship?" "Critical damage to their propulsion systems. Life support appears to be failing. Based on radiation readings, I'd say they have less than 24 hours before systems fail completely." Alan made his decision quickly. "Prepare a boarding team. Lisa, you're with me. Jack, keep the ship at ready status. If anything goes wrong, your orders are to return to Earth with the data we've collected." The shuttle trip to the alien vessel took only minutes. As they approached, Alan could see the damage was even worse up close. Whatever had happened to this ship hadn't been an accident. "Looks like weapons fire," said Ben Harris, the security officer who accompanied them. "Those aren't micrometeor impacts." They docked at what appeared to be an entry port. Lisa's scans confirmed the atmosphere inside was breathable, though slightly higher in oxygen than Earth normal. "Helmets on, until we're sure," Alan ordered, as they prepared to enter. The interior of the alien ship was dim, lit only by emergency lighting that cast everything in a pale blue glow. The corridors were wider and taller than would be comfortable for humans, suggesting the builders were larger than Earth's dominant species. They found the survivors in what appeared to be the command center of the vessel. 6 alien beings, each, nearly 7 feet tall with slender bodies covered in a fine silver-gray fur. Their faces were vaguely feline, with large eyes that reflected the emergency lights. One of the aliens stepped forward. Unlike the others who wore simple blue-green coverings, this one wore an elaborate vest with what looked like symbols of rank. "I am Vorik," the alien said, the words coming from a small device at its throat. "Ambassador of the Zerani Cooperative." Alan removed his helmet slowly, showing he was unarmed. "Commander Alan Frost of the Earth vessel Vanguard, we picked up your distress signal." The alien, Vorik, tilted his head in what might have been surprise. "You understood our signal?" "No," Alan admitted, "but we recognized it as communication from intelligent beings." Vorik looked at the other Zerani, then back to Alan. "You are the first species to answer our call. The others, They know better than to draw attention in these regions. Lisa stepped forward. Your ship is badly damaged. What happened? We were attacked, Vorik said simply, by those who see all other life as prey. Over the next hour, as Lisa helped the Zerani with their wounded, Vorik explained their situation to Alan. The Zerani were a peaceful, spacefaring species who had been exploring this region when they encountered the Krell Dominion, a powerful empire of predatory aliens who considered it their right to hunt, enslave, or consume any species they deemed inferior. The Krell attacked without warning, Vorik said. They called us prey and said our ship would make a fine trophy. We managed to escape, but not without damage. Alan listened, growing more concerned. And these Krell, they're common in this part of space. They control vast territories. Most species hide from them or serve them. Few resist. Vorik studied Alan with those large, reflective eyes. Your species, humans, you have weapons on your vessel? We do, Alan confirmed. Earth has known war. We hope for peace, but we prepare for conflict. This seemed to surprise Vorik. Your history includes warfare? Among your own kind? Yes, Alan said. It's not something we're proud of, but it has shaped us. Vorik made a sound like a low purr. Fascinating. The Zerani evolved without serious predators or competitors. We never developed the instinct for combat. This is why the Krell consider us easy prey. As they talked, Lisa approached with her medical scanner. Commander, their life support is going to fail completely in less than 10 hours. They can't repair it with what they have. Alan made a quick decision. Ambassador Vorik, we offer you and your people sanctuary aboard our vessel. We can take you to Earth space where you'll be safe. You would do this? Even knowing it might draw the attention of the Krell to your species? Vorik asked. We would, Alan said firmly. We don't abandon those in need. As the Zerani gathered their most important belongings and prepared to transfer to the Vanguard, Diane's voice came through Alan's communicator. Commander, we're detecting multiple large vessels approaching at high speed. They're not broadcasting any identification, and they're on an intercept course. Alan looked at Vorik, who had gone very still. The Krell, the ambassador whispered. They've come to finish the hunt. Alan turned to his team. Move quickly. Get the Zerani aboard our ship. Now we're about to have company. Alan Frost rushed through the airlock, the last of the Zerani refugees following close behind. The shuttle detached from the damaged alien vessel just as the approaching ships appeared on visual sensors. Status report, Alan commanded as he stepped onto the bridge of Vanguard. Jack Rivers, the tactical officer, looked up with concern clear on his face. 5 ships, Commander, each one at least 3 times our size. Their weapon systems are active and they've formed a blockade pattern around us. On the main screen, Alan could see the Krell vessels. They were angular and predatory in design, covered in what looked like armor plating with protruding weapons arrays that reminded him of teeth. They're hailing us, Diane Miller reported from communications. Audio only, Alan nodded. Put it through. A deep, rumbling voice filled the bridge. The translator struggled for a moment before converting the words to English. Attention, unidentified vessel. You have interfered with a Krell hunt. Surrender the Zerani prey immediately or be destroyed. Vorik, who had been brought to the bridge, shrank back at the sound of the voice. That is Drav, a hunt master of the Krell Dominion. He is known for his cruelty. Alan straightened his uniform and cleared his throat. This is Commander Alan Frost of the Earth vessel Vanguard. The beings you call prey are under our protection. We request a peaceful resolution to this situation. A harsh sound came through the speakers, something like laughter but with no warmth in it. Your species is unknown to us, Earth thing, Drav responded. But your vessel is small and primitive. You have no standing in Krell space. Surrender the prey and we may allow you to live as servants. Jack leaned close to Alan and whispered, Sir, scans show their weapons are significantly more advanced than ours. Direct confrontation would be suicide. Alan nodded slightly to show he understood. Lisa, what can you tell me about these Krell? The science officer studied her readings. Based on what I can see and what Vorek has told us, they evolved as apex predators. Their biology suggests incredible strength and highly developed senses. Their technology is approximately 50 years ahead of ours. Alan turned to Vorek. Is there anything you can tell us that might help? The Zerani ambassador's ears flattened against his head. The Krell believe it is their cosmic right to hunt other species. They respect only strength. They have never been defeated, Commander, Jack said quietly. Protocol Alpha 7. Alan considered for a moment, then nodded. Prepare it, but wait for my signal. He turned back to the communication system. Drav of the Krell, I invite you to discuss this situation. Perhaps we can reach an understanding that benefits us both. The Krell Huntmaster's laughter came again. There is nothing to discuss. You have 10 of your minutes to surrender the prey, or we will take them by force and add your skulls to our collection. As the communication ended, Alan moved quickly. Diane, can you intercept and decode their communications? The communications officer nodded. Their encryption is complex but not impossible. Give me a few minutes. Jack, are Alpha 7 preparations complete? Yes, sir. Ready on your command. Alan turned to Vorek. Ambassador, I need to know exactly how the Krell ships maneuver in combat. Any weaknesses, any patterns. While Vorek shared what little he knew about Krell combat tactics, Lisa studied the sensor readings of the alien vessels. Commander, I'm detecting unusual energy signatures from their forward sections. I think they're preparing to fire. Sir, Diane called out. I've broken into their communications. They're discussing how to divide us up. They consider the Zerani to be food and humans to be potential slaves or trophies. They're arguing about it. Alan's face hardened. And what's their plan of attack? 2 ships will target our engines while the others focus on weapons and life support. They don't consider us a serious threat. A cold smile formed on Alan's lips. That's their first mistake. He pressed the ship-wide communication button. All hands, battle stations. Prepare for Protocol Alpha 7. The Krell's deadline passed and their ships began to move into attack positions. They're powering up weapons, Jack reported. Wait for it, Alan said calmly. Let them think we're defenseless. The first Krell ship fired, the energy beam hitting Vanguard's shields. The vessel shook but held together. Now, Jack. The tactical officer's fingers flew across his console. Suddenly, panels on Vanguard's hull slid open, revealing weapon systems that had been completely hidden from sensors. A barrage of missiles launched toward the nearest Krell vessel. What is this? Vorek asked in shock. Earth vessels are designed with concealed weapons systems, Alan explained as the ship maneuvered sharply to avoid another attack. We learned long ago that appearing weaker than you are can be a tactical advantage. The missiles struck the Krell ship, causing visible damage to its hull. The other vessels paused their attack momentarily, clearly surprised. The communication system crackled to life again. You dare attack the Krell? Drav's voice was filled with rage and something else. Interest? Perhaps you are worthy prey. After all, we are not prey, Alan responded firmly, and neither are the Zerani. Lisa shouted from her station. They're coordinating a concentrated attack. Evasive maneuvers, Alan ordered. Jack, target their weapon systems. Vanguard danced through space, smaller and more agile than the Krell vessels. The hidden weapons continued to fire, focusing on disabling rather than destroying the enemy ships. Despite their best efforts, the Krell's superior firepower began to tell. A direct hit rocked the ship, sending sparks flying from one of the consoles. Shields at 40%, Jack reported. We can't take much more of this. Alan studied the tactical display, noting the positions of all 5 Krell ships. Diane, what's the status of their communications? They're coordinating through the lead ship, Drav's vessel. Alan made a quick decision. Jack, full power to forward shields. Set course directly for the gap between those 2 Krell ships. Sir? That's dangerously close to their weapons range. Exactly what they won't expect. Do it now. Vanguard surged forward, threading the needle between 2 massive Krell vessels. The maneuver brought them briefly face-to-face with Drav's command ship. In that moment, Jack fired every weapon they had, concentrating on a single point in the Krell ship's hull. The resulting explosion was bigger than expected. The Krell ship didn't break apart, but its lights flickered and it began to drift. Their main power system is down, Lisa reported. They're switching to auxiliaries. Full speed away from the battle zone, Alan ordered. Set course for Earth, space. As Vanguard accelerated away, Diane continued monitoring the Krell communications. Sir, they're not pursuing immediately. They're helping the damaged vessel. And Drav is saying something about humans being worthy prey for the great hunt. They're also transmitting data about Earth's location, Lisa added grimly. They must have scanned our navigation systems. Alan's expression was solemn as he turned to Vorek. It seems we've bought ourselves some time, but we've also drawn their attention to Earth. The Zerani ambassador's large eyes were wide with amazement. I have never seen anyone stand against the Krell before. Your people are either very brave or very foolish. Sometimes there's little difference between the two, Alan said with a slight smile. Jack, push our engines to maximum. We need to warn Earth about what's coming. As Vanguard raced through the darkness of space, Alan knew that the real battle was just beginning. The Krell had found a new prey to hunt, but humans were no ordinary prey. And soon, the hunters would learn what it meant to face a species that had spent its entire history learning how to fight back. The journey back to Earth took 8 days at maximum speed. During that time, the crew of the Vanguard worked tirelessly to repair damage from the battle and learn everything they could from their Zerani guests. Alan spent hours reviewing the sensor data from their encounter with the Krell, looking for any weakness they could exploit. Commander? Lisa called from her station on the 8th day. We're approaching Mars' orbital defense perimeter. Alan nodded, relief washing over him. Diane, contact Earth Defense Command, priority channel. Tell them we have a first contact situation and potential hostile force incoming. As they passed the red planet, Alan noticed something on the long-range sensors. Lisa, what's that? The science officer studied her readings, then looked up with alarm. Sir, it's a small vessel, Krell design. It must have followed us at a distance. Can we intercept? Negative. It's already breaking off and heading out of the system at high speed. Alan slammed his fist on the arm of his chair. They're scouting us. Diane, update Earth Defense. Tell them we may have been followed. When Vanguard finally docked at the orbital station above Earth, they were met by a full security team led by General Karen Foster, the head of Earth Defense Command. Her gray hair was cut in a severe military style, and her expression was equally sharp. Commander Frost, she said, eyeing the Zerani with suspicion. Your message said this was urgent. It is, General. Alan gestured to Vorek. This is Ambassador Vorek of the Zerani Cooperative, and we've made another contact. A hostile species called the Krell. They're coming for Earth. The briefing room was packed with military officers and government officials. Alan and Lisa presented the data they had collected, while Vorek explained what he knew about the Krell Dominion. Let me get this straight, General Foster said when they finished. These Krell consider other species to be prey, and now they're coming here because you interfered with their hunt? They were coming anyway, Alan replied firmly. Our sensors detected a Krell scout ship that followed us home. They know where Earth is now. And how do we know these Zerani aren't just leading enemies to our doorstep? Asked Colonel Greg Mason, Foster's second-in-command. Vorek stepped forward. My people are peaceful. We have never wanted conflict. But we have seen what the Krell do to worlds they conquer. They strip them of resources and people. Those they don't eat, they enslave. General Foster studied the alien for a long moment, then turned back to Alan. How much time do we have? Based on their ship speeds, 2 weeks, maybe 3. That's not much time to prepare for an alien invasion. No, Alan agreed, but we have to try. Over the next few days, Earth's nations united in unprecedented cooperation. The Zerani refugees were moved to a secure facility where they worked with human scientists to share what they knew about Krell technology and biology. Lisa led the research team, working closely with Vorek and the other Zerani. One evening, as they examined the sensor readings from the battle, Vorek asked her a question. Your people have so many weapons, so many defenses. Why? Lisa looked up from her work. Earth's history is filled with conflict. Different human groups fought each other for resources, territory, or beliefs. We've had times of peace, but we've never forgotten how to fight. Vorek's ears twitched in what Lisa now recognized as surprise. You fought your own kind? Regularly? Yes. We've had 2 global wars and countless smaller conflicts. It's not something we're proud of, but it shaped us. The Zerani never experienced this. Our world had few predators, and we evolved as cooperative groups. We never needed to fight each other. Lisa touched his arm gently. That's a beautiful history. But right now, we need to use what we know about fighting to help your people. Meanwhile, Jack Rivers worked with military strategists to develop tactics against the Krell fleet. In a secured war room, he stood before General Foster and her staff. We can't match their firepower directly, Jack explained, pointing to the holographic display of Krell ships. But we can use guerrilla tactics, hit-and-run attacks, ambushes. Guerrilla tactics in space? Colonel Mason asked skeptically. Yes. We hide resources in the asteroid belt, behind moons in Earth's shadow. We use our smaller, faster ships to strike and retreat before they can respond. General Foster nodded slowly. Like how smaller human forces have defeated larger ones throughout history. Exactly. The Krell expect us to be easy prey. But Earth doesn't breed prey. We breed fighters. Across the planet, civil defense preparations continued day and night. Underground shelters built during previous wars were reopened and stocked with supplies. Orbital defense platforms, once considered obsolete, were quickly upgraded with new weapons based on Zerani knowledge. 10 days after Vanguard's return, Alan was called to a special demonstration at a military research facility in the Nevada desert. Lisa met him at the entrance, excitement clear on her face. What's this about? He asked. We've been studying the data from our sensors during the battle, she explained as they walked through the facility. The Zerani helped us understand the Krell biology. We found something. In a large testing chamber, a Krell weapon salvaged from debris during their escape was mounted on a stand. Several scientists stood behind a protective barrier, along with Vorek. The Krell evolved as hunters, Lisa explained. Their senses are incredibly sharp, much more sensitive than human or Zerani senses. But that sensitivity has a weakness. She nodded to a technician, who activated a device nearby. Nothing seemed to happen, but the Krell weapon suddenly sparked and shut down. What just happened? Alan asked. Electromagnetic pulse at a very specific frequency, Lisa said with a smile. It overloads their sensory systems and disrupts their technology. We've been running simulations. A strong enough burst might temporarily incapacitate a Krell warrior, or even disable their ship's systems. For the first time since their encounter with the Krell, Alan felt a flicker of hope. Can we build enough of these devices to make a difference? We're already manufacturing them, General Foster said, entering the room. But it won't stop their entire fleet, it's just one tool in our arsenal. Alan nodded. Every advantage helps. 13 days after Vanguard's return, the early warning system detected a massive energy signature at the edge of the solar system. In the command center of Earth Defense Headquarters, General Foster looked at the main screen with grim determination. How many? At least 30 ships, an officer reported. Much larger than the ones Commander Frost encountered. Alan stood beside the general, watching as the Krell armada approached. They're coming in force. They want to make an example of us. Let them try, Foster replied. Humanity has faced extinction before. We're still here. She turned to the communications officer. Send the alert to all Earth forces and colonies. This is not a drill. Throughout the solar system, ships moved into position. Hidden weapons platforms powered up. On Earth, billions of people waited in shelters, united in fear and determination. The greatest hunt in Krell history was about to begin. But this time the prey was ready to fight back. The Krell armada entered the solar system like a storm cloud, 30 massive warships moving in perfect formation. Earth's outer defense satellites detected them passing Neptune's orbit, sending automated alerts back to command. In Earth defense, Headquarters General Foster studied the tactical display with Allen and other military leaders. "They're not rushing," Allen observed. "They're moving methodically, scanning everything." Foster nodded. "Good. That gives our outer teams more time to get in position." The plan they had developed was risky, but built on thousands of years of human military history. Throughout the solar system, small defense forces hid behind moons, within asteroid clusters, and in the shadows of planets. Earth itself appeared to have minimal defenses, just enough to look like a civilization that hadn't expected attack. 3. Days after entering the system, the Krell fleet approached Mars. A communication came through on all frequencies, translated by the systems Diane and her team had developed. The face that appeared on screen was nightmarish to human eyes. Drav, the Krell huntmaster, had gray-green scaled skin with ridges above yellow slitted eyes. His mouth was filled with sharp teeth that showed as he spoke. "People of Earth," his translated voice boomed. "I am Huntmaster Drav of the Krell Dominion. Your species has interfered with Krell hunting rights and harbored our prey. For this offense, we claim your world and all upon it as property of the Dominion." He paused, his alien face showing what might have been amusement. "However, we are not without mercy. Submit to our harvesting quotas, and many of you will be permitted to live as servants. Resist, and we will take pleasure in the hunt." General Foster stood before the camera, her posture straight and proud. "This is General Karen Foster of Earth Defense Command. We do not recognize your claim to our world or your right to hunt any species. Earth will not surrender." Drav's mouth opened in what could only be a smile. "Good. The hunt is always more satisfying when prey believes it can escape." As the communication ended, Foster turned to the command staff. "All units execute Operation Ambush. This is not a drill." As the Krell fleet approached Earth orbit, they found what appeared to be a panicked, disorganized defense. A few orbital platforms fired weak weapons that barely damaged the Krell ship's shields. Small defensive vessels made attacks that seemed desperate and ineffective. "They're barely fighting back," Drav observed from his command ship. "Typical prey behavior. Fear has overcome their will to resist." His second-in-command, a battle-scarred Krell named Korg, wasn't convinced. "The reports from our scout indicated they might have hidden defenses. On their ships, perhaps," Drav dismissed. "But look at their world. Minimal orbital weapons. No unified fleet. They've never faced a real predator before. This hunt will be brief but entertaining." The Krell fleet moved closer to Earth, entering the optimal range for their primary weapons. Drav ordered his ships to spread out, surrounding the planet to prevent any escape. "Begin the first wave of the harvest," he commanded. "Target their largest population centers to break their will." Just as the Krell ships moved into their final attack positions, General Foster gave the signal from Earth Defense Command. "Now," she ordered. Throughout the solar system, hidden forces sprang their trap. From behind Earth's moon, advanced stealth ships suddenly appeared, launching missiles at the rear of the Krell formation. From the shadow of Earth itself, orbital platforms much larger than the decoys revealed their true weapons capabilities. Most surprising to the Krell, hundreds of mines that had been hidden in Earth orbit activated simultaneously, detonating against the hulls of the nearest Krell ships. "We're under attack," Korg shouted as their flagship shook from a direct hit. Drav snarled in rage. "Impossible. Where did these weapons come from?" The battle raged across the Earth's orbital space. Though the Krell ships were larger and more powerful, they were caught off guard by the coordinated attack from multiple directions. On the modified Vanguard, Alan Frost led a special mission. His ship, now equipped with Zayrani stealth technology and human weapons, slipped through the chaos of battle toward Drav's command vessel. "Status report," Alan called as Vanguard shook from a near miss. "Shields at 70%, Jack reported from Tactical. "Their point defenses are stronger than we expected, but they're distracted by the main battle." Lisa looked up from her console. "I've analyzed their command ship's design based on the scans we're getting. There appears to be a central communications hub here. She pointed to a section of the ship displayed on screen. That's our target, Alan decided. If we can disrupt their ability to coordinate, it will give our fleet an advantage. Using the battle as cover, Vanguard approached the massive Krell flagship. A precision strike from their main weapons created a small breach in the Krell ship's hull. Boarding team, prepare for deployment, Alan ordered, checking his own combat gear. Lisa, Jack, you're with me. Ben, you have command of Vanguard until we return. The small team used specialized boarding pods to cross the short distance to the Krell vessel. Once inside, they found themselves in dark corridors that seemed designed for beings larger than humans. This way, Lisa whispered, following her scanner. The communications hub should be 2 levels up. As they moved through the ship, they encountered several Krell warriors. The aliens were indeed fearsome, standing nearly 8 feet tall with powerful muscles beneath their scaled skin. But Lisa's discovery proved invaluable. The specialized electromagnetic devices they carried emitted pulses that disoriented the Krell long enough for the team to overcome them. Their biology is fascinating, Lisa noted after they subdued one warrior. They evolved as pure predators. Look at these senses: smell, sight, hearing, all hyper-developed for hunting. Save the scientific observations for later, Jack suggested, as more alarm sounds echoed through the ship. They reached the communications hub, a large chamber filled with technology unlike anything humans had developed. Krell technicians worked at strange consoles coordinating the battle outside. Plant the devices, Alan ordered. Set them for maximum effect. The team quickly placed the electromagnetic pulse generators around the room. Before they could activate them, a deep voice spoke from behind. So the prey comes to the predator. How unexpected. They turned to find Drav himself blocking the exit, flanked by 4 armed Krell warriors. The Huntmaster was even more imposing in person, his yellow eyes, evaluating them like a cat watching mice. I recognized your small ship, Drav said, focusing on Alan. The same one that damaged my vessel before. I wanted to see these humans for myself, before the harvest begins. You've made a mistake, Drav, Alan replied, slowly reaching for the control device in his pocket. Humans aren't prey. Drav laughed, the sound harsh and cold. All species are either predator or prey, and in the cosmic order, the Krell stand above all. That's where you're wrong, Lisa said, drawing Drav's attention. On Earth, even prey species learn to fight back. Evolution doesn't stand still. While Lisa kept Drav talking, Jack moved his hand toward his weapon and Alan prepared the pulse device. Enough talk, Drav snarled, moving forward. I will mount your heads as trophies and… Alan activated the pulse. The effect was immediate. All the Krell in the room, including Drav, clutched at their sensory organs, disoriented and in pain. The electromagnetic frequency overwhelmed their hypersensitive systems. Now! Alan shouted. The team activated all the devices simultaneously. A wave of energy pulsed through the communications hub, disabling equipment and incapacitating the Krell. Get back to the ship, Alan ordered as they rushed past the stunned aliens. Behind them, the pulse continued to spread throughout the Krell flagship, disrupting communications and coordination across their fleet. As they made their escape in the boarding pods, they could see the tide of battle turning. Without clear communication from the command ship, the Krell fleet's perfect formation had broken down into individual ships fighting alone. Earth's forces pressed the advantage, targeting key systems on the Krell vessels. Not to destroy them completely, but to disable their ability to fight. When Alan and his team returned to Vanguard, a message was waiting from General Foster. Well done, Commander, she said, a rare smile on her face. The Krell fleet is in disarray. Several ships are already retreating. It seems the hunters weren't prepared to become the hunted. Alan looked out at the battle, watching as more Krell ships broke formation and fled. We've won this round, he said quietly. But something tells me the hunt isn't over yet. 3 months after the Battle of Earth, Alan Frost stood on the observation deck of the newly constructed space station Unity. Below him, The blue planet continued its peaceful spin, showing no scars from the conflict that had nearly destroyed. Cool. Beautiful view, said Vorek, joining him by the window. The Zerani ambassador looked different now. He stood taller, and a simple Earth defense insignia decorated his clothing. It is, Alan agreed, and worth defending. My people never thought defense was necessary, Vorek said quietly. We believed the universe would respect peace. And now? Now we understand that sometimes peace must be protected. They watched as a mixed fleet of ships performed training maneuvers nearby. Some were human designs, others Zerani, and a few belonged to 3 other species that had contacted Earth after hearing about the defeat of the Krell fleet. The coalition is growing stronger, Alan observed. 5 species working together, with more asking to join each month. Lisa Grant approached them, holding a data tablet. The analysis of the captured Krell ship is complete, she reported. Their technology is impressive, but not unbeatable. And we've learned something interesting from the prisoner. The Krell prisoner was Korg, Drav's second in command. Unlike his master who had escaped, Korg had been captured when his escape pod was disabled during the battle. In a secure area of the station, Korg sat behind an energy barrier. Despite his captivity, the Krell warrior maintained his pride. You wanted to see me, human? He asked as Alan entered. I want to understand something, Alan said, standing before the barrier. Why does the Krell Dominion hunt other species? What drives you? Korg's yellow eyes studied Alan carefully. We are apex predators. It is our nature, our evolutionary right. For thousands of years we have hunted the stars, finding only prey. Until now, Alan said. Yes, Korg admitted. Until Earth. You are different. How so? The Krell leaned forward. All species we encountered evolved either as predators like us, or as prey like the Zerani. But humans... He paused, searching for the right words. Humans evolved as prey that became predators. Alan considered this. We had to adapt to survive. Exactly. Your planet doesn't breed prey, only apex predators. Your history of fighting. Each other prepared you to fight us. There was something like respect in Korg's voice. Drav did not understand this. He still doesn't. Is he planning to return? The Krell always hunt worthy prey. Korg's mouth formed what might have been a smile. But now, for the first time, we must consider that we might become prey ourselves. Later, in the Coalition Command Center, General Foster listened to Alan's report. So the Krell will come back, she said grimly. Yes, but not right away. They need time to regroup, rethink their approach. Alan pointed to the star map displaying the known Krell territory. And this time, we won't be waiting for them to come to us. Diane Miller, now head of the Coalition Communication Division, looked up. The Alliance Communications Network is reaching more species. Many have been hiding from the Krell for generations, and now they're willing to fight, Jack Rivers added from his tactical station. Alan looked around at the diverse group, humans working side by side with aliens who just months ago had been strangers. The Krell thought they were the ultimate predators in the galaxy, he said. Their mistake was hunting a species that had spent its entire history learning to overcome stronger enemies. Outside the window, Earth continued its silent rotation, no longer just a home to humanity but a symbol to the stars. Some prey learned to bite back,